This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, please tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Krista Arthur. I'm very excited to be here, but my name is Krista Arthur. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for Consilien.
Not to be confused with Consilio.
Not to be confused with Consilio. Yes, Consilien. We are a managed IT and managed security services provider.
Well, that's fantastic. How long have you been doing that?
I've been with Consilien for about 6 years now. So I don't have a technology background. I actually came out of sales and marketing, and they wanted to grow the company. And so here I am, and we're growing.
They found you and look at you grow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that there aren't a lot of women in the IT and security space. I'm curious, what does work-life balance look like for women in your environment or in your industry?
Yeah, that's interesting. No, there's not a lot of women especially in the C-suite and leadership in IT, unfortunately. And as far as work-life balance, I think that's really been thrown off with the pandemic. In fact, there's a survey that was out recently by Deloitte, and they surveyed 400 women worldwide, and the impact on them has been tremendous. I mean, on their careers, I think like 70% of the respondents said it had a negative impact on them and their work-life balance in their careers. So anyway.
Yeah, I can imagine in a highly dominated male space that, the pandemic for sure, but even things like maternity leaves and, taking care of children or other family responsibilities get really hard for women in your space, I would imagine.
I think so. In our space, and I think in any space, really, I think women have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic. I mean, the studies show that. And then when you have such few women in leadership and IT, that can be an issue. So,
Yeah. I think that's why I was so excited to talk to you, because you are kind of like a unicorn. There's not too many of you out there.
That is true. Yeah.
So thinking about that, are there expectations that you put on yourself? Or that do you see that other women put on themselves, again, just as kind of to keep up?
Yeah, especially as a woman of color. When I was a kid, my dad would say, you're a Black woman and you need to get an education and you always have to be better. So there's no, I can't be mediocre in my work environment. And so I feel that I always have to do and be my best and be on point because of my gender and because I am a woman of color, and I want to represent, right? So you want to represent really well. You don't get the how can I put this, the slack that I'll see in some other meetings. So I'll be in a meeting with a group. I'm oftentimes the only woman in leadership in that group, and it happens a lot. One of the gentlemen in the group will have a meltdown or be really upset about something or other. And the thought does go through my mind, I can't do that, because if I do that, then it's a reflection, not just on me, it's a reflection on women. And I don't think it's conscious, it's mostly unconscious, but I really feel that it needs to change. I'm not seeing a lot of that change in technology. We're seeing it in other industries. There's this push to put women CEOs or to put women on boards of directors.
Yeah,
we're seeing that, but we're not really seeing it. In my mind, I haven't seen it in technology. I could be wrong. And it's unfortunate, not just because you want women for the sake of having women. It's a good business decision to have diversity in your organization and in your leadership. The topography of our country is changing in such a way that without diversity, how long is your company going to be able to thrive? How long is will it even survive? There's so much going on. And so to have that diversity of voices, of outlook, of opinions, is really going to help an organization grow. So I don't think it's just a social good. I think it's smart business, actually, to have more women and more minorities in leadership in IT and elsewhere.
Well, one of the things that's coming through for me as I'm listening to you talk is, first of all, is just the energy around it. Like, I don't get the sense that there's a grudge or that there's anger directed towards it. I just get this very like calm grace that's coming through with how you're speaking that just says, again, it's very practical business sense. There really isn't a lot to this other than it's the right thing to do for many reasons. Besides the fact that we all know the stats prove that businesses perform better when they have women in charge. So we'll just put a bow on that.
Yeah.
So, what would you want other women of color to know, or other people who work with women of color to know? What would you want them to know, and how would you want them to behave or think or act with that?
Yeah, so I think there's two parts to that question. So the first part is, what would I want other women and women of color to know, is to stay focused on what your objectives are. It is true that you're going to need to be a little bit or a lot better. That's just the reality of where we live and the reality of what's going on. And do your best not to let it get you down.
Yeah.
But if you stay focused on your objective and you keep moving forward and you keep moving forward, you will reach that objective, whatever it is. So I'm a big believer in the infinite potential of every human being. You can really do, be, and have anything you want. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you can do it if you're determined and if you have the right resources. What I would say to other organizations and other leaders about hiring women is, don't be afraid, to bring more women into leadership, and don't be afraid to mentor women. I know with a lot of men are afraid of women right now because of, sexual harassment and everything that's going on in the news, but they shouldn't be afraid to mentor women. I mean, just don't be weird and creepy.
That's exactly what I kept saying after the whole Me Too movement, where it was like men started to do this regression thing where I was like, oh, well, you just can't take them to dinner or take them out or, have them in the boardroom. And I'm like, no, you just can't, be weird and be creepy.
You can't be a weirdo. Yeah. Just,
keep it together, man.
Yeah. Keep it together. I was in a networking event, and it was actually in our little group, there were 2 men and 2 women, and the men were a little older, in their 50s. And one of the guys says, well, ladies, I don't mean to offend you, and as soon as you say that, just stop. Just, if you think it's untoward, it probably is, it might be, but by and large, there's a lot of great people. I mean, I have great leadership that I work with at Consilien. There's a lot of really great coaches and men that are looking to mentor talent, and look and mentor a young woman or a mid-aged woman, even a woman that's re-entering the workforce, maybe after having been home or after she's been taking care of her family, taking care of her parents, or she wants to make a career change. I can guarantee that 40-year-old woman, or even women in her 50s that's making that change, is going to be motivated. She's got something to prove, and she's got a lot of experience and a lot of room to grow. So, I would just say to start reaching out to these women. And as a woman, don't be afraid to make that change, even if you're mid-aged, or even if you're younger and you're not in the career that you want to. Technology is so exciting. Like I said, I didn't come from technology. I came from marketing. I had my own marketing boutique, and that's how I met one of the owners. I was building his website and doing some consulting. And I've really fallen in love with technology. It's interesting. I think cybersecurity is an ethical business to be in, especially today, really helping to guide organizations to be safe, to protect their employees, to protect their customers. We want people to be profitable. So there's a lot of rich opportunity out there. And you just have to know that you can be a part of that opportunity. You can be a part of that growth. So.
Such an inspiring message. And again, I always just walk away feeling so uplifted after speaking with you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today. I'm curious, if somebody wanted to reach out and introduce themselves, how might they go about that? What would be the best way to get in touch with you?
They can email me, Krista at Consilien.com, not Consilio, Consilien.com, or reach out to me on LinkedIn, so. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, my audience knows I'll have all the contact information there for you so they can reach right out and do that. But otherwise, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. And I do hope you come back and join us again. We'll have more conversations as, life continues to unfold. And I know that you'll have some good nuggets for us to share. So I'll have you back for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This is Stacey McKibben at the Master Communicator Podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.consilioteam.com. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.